So
Exactly.
the credit card, obviously, there's what is it called, processing fees.
Yeah.
So you still have to pay those, but instead it's worth it because you know how to leverage the points so well. Is that kind of the trade off?
Exactly. And I would say you obviously at the end of the day, you don't want to pay more money, then that's unnecessary because we're real estate investors and we always want to make sure that we're making the most revenue possible. But one of the easiest ways that you know it's worth it for you is when you're hitting a sign up bonus. So, like when you open a new card and you could get like 60, 70, over 100,000 points in a sign up bonus, that's when it's worth it for you to pay those processing fees because maybe it's 3%, but all the points that you're going to get from that sign up bonus far outweighs those fees. On a regular basis, though, am I always going to pay processing fees? No, I always pick and choose to see what's worth it and what's not. But to give you an example, sign up bonuses are when you should absolutely do it.
I'm gonna get all the secrets out of you today. I'm
Let's
excited.
do
All
it.
right. Best credit cards for someone just starting.
Good question. That's the trusty Chase Sapphire Preferred. So that's a personal card. Okay. It's a very beginner friendly card because the annual fee is only 95 bucks. So it's not going to scare anyone away with like $700, annually. It's very low, it's very reasonable. But the magic part about that card is it gives you access to transfer partners. And that's where you could really start squeezing out as much value from your redemptions as possible. It doesn't just limit you to being in the portal. You could start transferring it to Air France, going to Europe, or to Hyatt to book your stays, right, for free. So that is the best beginner travel card. You ask anyone who's points and mile, they'll always say like, "Oh, it's Sapphire Preferred for sure."
Well, that's good because I got that one. I think that was my second credit card I got.
Nice,
let me
nice.
let me ask you this. So a lot of these questions are gonna be personal,
Sure.
but also I feel like a lot of people are in this position that I am. And I'm like, I gotta leverage all this because I've just been blowing money on travel without actually taking advantage of everything I could.
Mhm.
So, what about airline cards? My first one, for whatever reason, was a Southwest credit card. Do you believe in just using the Chase card so that you could, have all these different partners? Or you like, hey, be loyal to one because they're going to be loyal back and they're going to hook you up?
So this depends, but in general, for most people, you're gonna want to always start off with the bank cards that give you flexible currencies. So that is Chase, Capital One, Citi, those pure cards from the bank. So we were talking about sports earlier. Let's give an analogy, right? So the Sapphire cards, any of those cards that can transfer to partners, those are like the starting lineup. Those are the top five players on your team that can do everything. Essentially, right? You could transfer to different partners. They're going to get you more points to score higher to get that really like awesome win for a travel redemption. The airline co-branded cards, the hotel cards, those are your bench players. They're not starting because you're not going to get as much points from them, right? But they are unique in that maybe they're your defensive player, right? So they can be used once in a while, but to support your starting lineup. So I would say always start with those credit cards that are from the banks that could transfer, and then support them with those airline cards. However, if you truly just like are a loyalist and you feel like I fly American all the time because they have the most routes for where I fly or based out of my home airport, then go with American, right? But I wouldn't just rely on that because at the end of the day, it just keeps you stuck to that airline, and that airline might not always have the best value or redemptions.
What about what's the next step up? Someone got the Chase Sapphire card. Now, what's that next level? What's that next starter you want to put on that starting five?
The next one, so you typically, if you were going to be simplistic, right? Let's say we're being simplistic, it's always going to be a combination of like at least two cards. You're going to have one card that's like your main travel card, say like the Sapphire Preferred, and then you're going to have your Workhorse card. And that Workhorse card is the card that earns you points so that you can travel, right? So you want to use one card so that you have all these benefits while traveling, and then you need another card that helps you earn points so that you can travel. And if we were with Chase, if we're sticking with Chase, I would say the Chase Freedom Unlimited or the Chase Freedom Flex. And this is still on the personal side though. So essentially would be your setup, right? Personally to earn points so that you could travel. But if you're trying to like level up, again, it depends on the kind of experience you want. If you're bougie, if you want to go to those lounges, if you want to have a five-star experience, that's when you want to kind of look into the platinum card with American Express, right? That's what you want to do. But again, it really depends. So for me, I would always ask them, well, what kind of traveler are you? What are your goals? Because that's going to determine the card that best fits your lifestyle. So if you're telling me, oh, I like budget friendly travel, I just want to take my family on annual trips to Hawaii, then I would say just get the Chase Sapphire and then also one of the Freedom cards, the Freedom Flex or the Freedom Unlimited, and you should be good, right? Just putting all your spend on that and then introducing over the business cards because it's for your business as real estate. I would also do the Ink Unlimited because that one gives you a 75K sign up bonus. And then that card is just unlimited 1.5 points per dollar. So that's nice. But if you're telling me, Jesse, you're like, nah, I want to go to the lounges, I want five-star hotels, I want business class. Hey, you could still do that with Chase, but what's going to give you higher sign up bonuses are the Amex charge cards, which are the gold and the platinum, right? Just really depends on you as a traveler. And that's why I always come back with questions to best suggest what card fits the lifestyle and goals of a person.